Welcome to Playengo. In this video, we're going to cover how to create and manage playlists, as well as managing the assets they contain. As a reminder, a playlist allows you to define a series of assets which will be shown on screens following a specific schedule. For each playlist, my assets appear in the section of the screen following the mask I had created before. From the playlist menu, I can see all of the playlists which I have access to, and I can also see the organisation for the files. The best practice here is to create your playlist where it will be displayed. In this case, I want to create a playlist which will be shown on the screen of the dining hall in the London office. I therefore create a new folder for this location called Dining Hall. Once the folder has been created, I click on it to open it, and then start creating my playlist inside. First, I click on New to create a new playlist. Then I add a name. I can also add a category to the playlist to help organise it. This can be useful if I want to reuse this tag later for similar assets, or if I want to find all of the assets relating to this theme, I can search using this tag. You also have the option to define the maximum length of time an asset will be displayed in the playlist. Normally, if two playlists are linked to a screen, the next playlist will be shown once all of the assets in the first playlist have been displayed at least once. As you can imagine, this can get quite long. So in this case, you can set the maximum amount of time a playlist will be displayed. 10 minutes, for example. It's also possible to superimpose an image onto your assets. This can be useful during an event, for example, but I'll demonstrate how to do that in another video. Next, I'm going to choose a layout to organise the assets on the screen. For this example, I'll choose the layout I created in the previous video. Once all this is done, I can move on to the next step. I'll now position the assets I want to include in my playlist. The list of all of the assets I have access to is displayed in the panel on the left-hand side. I should emphasise here the importance of organising your folders. However, you can always use the search tool to find something specific if that's easier. To move an asset to the zone I want it to be placed in, I can simply click and drag the item. I then repeat this action with the rest of the assets in the different zones. You can see the speaker icon and the percentage sign next to the screen dimensions of each zone. You can use the speaker icon to mute or unmute assets within a certain zone. The percentage sign displays a progress bar according to the display of the assets in that particular zone, such as to show people who are viewing the content on a screen how much content is left that they haven't yet seen. For each asset, the cogwheels enable you to define a specific length of time for an asset to be displayed, and if you would like to display the name of an asset or not. If I ever can't remember the contents of an asset, I can also double-click underneath to see what it is. Once I am finished setting up this layout, I can move on to the next step. At this stage, I can add an audio track to the playlist. To do this, I have to have already uploaded the audio file to my assets, and like before, I can find the audio track in the assets already uploaded to my Playengo console, and then click and drag to add to the playlist. Once I'm happy with these settings, I can then move on to the next stage where I can preview my playlist. If I want to make any modifications, I can just go back to a previous stage from the menu above and then make any changes and move on when I'm happy. I've now arrived at one of the most important steps, defining the schedule for the playlist. That means choosing the order of display of the playlist on one or multiple screens. For this, I'll click on Add a Schedule. Next, I can set the dates for this playlist. I can choose a fixed period or decide that this playlist will be displayed indefinitely. In this case, I'll choose to display this playlist during the week beginning the 3rd of May. The next step is to set the hours during which the playlist will be displayed. I can also choose whether this playlist will be displayed all day without any interruptions. To set the time the display will start and finish, I click on the hours and minutes of the clock. Finally, I need to choose the recurrence of the display. I can choose specific days or use the shortcuts to display the assets during specific periods of time, such as working days or during the weekend. Once I'm happy with the settings, I'll click on Save to save this schedule. You can see the schedule which is now displayed in the calendar zone. I'm also able to modify any changes to the schedule if necessary. We are now at the final step of the process, which is choosing the screen. When I move to the next part of the menu, I can find the list of all active screens within my organisation. Once again, I can only see the screens which I have been given access to. In this case, I'll use the search tool to find the screen in the dining hall of the London office. I just select the screen to link the playlist to it. I can even select multiple screens to display the same playlist. Now that I have completed all of the steps, I will save the playlist. Be aware, if a step is missed, you could lose all of your work. Fortunately, there is a pop-up that appears in this case. For example, if I try to exit the playlist without having saved it, you'll see that the pop-up will appear, asking me if I really want to leave the page before saving the changes. I'll click on Stay on Page and then Save, which is the button in red. Once my playlist has been saved, I can then duplicate or delete it if necessary. I can also click Make Default on this screen, which means that this playlist will be played by default on any screen which doesn't already have another playlist programmed. After that, I'm done. That's all for this video on playlists. Watch our next video to learn more about using players in Playengo. See you soon!